And all of a sudden, winter arrives this weekend and early next week. And that's the focus of today's feed. We have a big change coming as it's going to be a relatively warm week, but take a look at what's coming early next week. Just a huge dip in the jet stream, and with that, the wind flow comes right out of the north, and this chilly air is going to be driven all the way down into the southeastern part of the United States as we head into the weekend and early next week. And all of a sudden, when you go back to work on Monday, it's going to feel like early to mid, even late December for some. All right, let me show you how we're going to get there here. And it all begins as it normally does in the Pacific here, because we've got a couple of storms here. This storm here will be coming into the northwest today. What that is going to do is that's going to come eastward. That'll bring some chillier air into the Midwest and Northeast as we get into Thursday and Friday, and then this next storm. You see this? And look where it is. It's all the way up here, north of the Aleutian Islands in western Alaska. This is the storm that will bring a little bit of snow, and then eventually it is the storm that's going to bring in the chill. Now, one of the reasons I like the feed so much, and again, this is also a spin-off of my Chaos to Clarity on the AccuWeather YouTube channel here, is I want to show you what I look at. I want to show you the models and show you the tools I use to make a forecast, and this is all powered by the AccuWeather Pro site here. So let me show you what we're looking at here. Now, if you watched this before, you know I'm always talking about the upper pattern, what we call 500 millibar here, and I want to show you. Because remember this graphic? Let me go back. Remember this graphic? I showed you this at the top of the broadcast here. This one right here. Let me go to it. Let me show you how we get to this pattern here. It's right here. How do we get there from where we are right now? All right, with that, let me show you how we're going to get there. Let me put this on a two-shot. So here's what we're looking at here going forward. So here's the jet stream configuration this evening, and you can see you have what we call a zonal flow across the country, west-east. In the zonal flow, all the cold air is locked up in Canada. The problem is we have so many storms coming across the country, it remains locked up in Canada through the weekend, but then things change later this week. Let's track the storms. We talked about the storm coming into the northwest here today. Here it comes. Now watch what this does. This comes across the country. This is tomorrow evening. Here it is pushing across the northern Rockies. Watch what this is going to do. Comes across the area as we get into Friday. Here's Friday evening. So here it is right here. It's here now. By Friday evening, it comes in here. And you see what it does? It brings down a little shot of colder air across parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. Then you've got this next storm. That's the one in Western Canada, hot on its heels. Watch what this does as we get into the weekend. It comes all the way south. Look at this by Saturday evening. Here it is. This is Saturday evening. So that piece of energy, which is way up here, comes into the northwest and then starts coming into the central part of the U.S., the Midwest, as we get into Saturday. Now, remember, we have a shot of colder air that came in preceding this across parts of Wisconsin and Minnesota. And my contention is that north of this piece of energy, there may be a little bit of snow with this as we get into Saturday. Now, there's a difference in the modeling on this. This is the European model. Look at the GFS, the American model. It's farther south. Look at that. European, GFS. European, GFS. European, GFS. Look how much farther south this is. This suggests you can even get snow down into the Chicago area. How about that? Now, I don't believe that, but let me show you the surface panel with that. Let's go to the surface panel. So here we go. This is the storm coming in on Thursday. Watch it come across tomorrow. Watch it come across the area. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Now, I'm going to stop this Saturday. Let's go Friday evening. So Friday evening, that storm leaves, and you see this little blue line here, right in here. This is where you're roughly cold enough for snow. Now, the American model suggests it's a little farther south towards Chicago. Watch as I play this forward. See, the American model has the colder air all the way there. You see this line? We call this the 540 line here, the thickness line. That suggests you can get snow in Chicago. That's the American model. The European model says, nah, it's a little farther north. I suspect the European model is correct. And then as we play this forward, watch this. Here comes a storm, and voila! By Sunday morning, you see that? Little bit of snow up in here across Michigan and Wisconsin. You see right in here. Watch the American model farther south. Look at that. The American model suggests it's going to snow all the way down into northern Indiana and Illinois. I don't personally believe that. I don't think the cold air is coming that deep. So I would say this is going to be rain for Chicago, northern Indiana, and northern Illinois. But we do want to let you know a little bit of snow perhaps from Green Bay toward Traverse City toward, let's say, Saginaw. I don't think it's a lot, maybe a coating to a half inch. Something to look for Saturday and the Sunday. And then, watch this. Here's the upper level pattern. Now watch this. Remember I showed you that big dip in the jet stream? My goodness. Look at this. By Monday, you've got a huge dip in the jet stream all the way into the southeast. Follow the lines coming in right and out of the north. Let me show you what it looks like for temperatures here moving forward. So let's go to Saturday morning. Watch the blue. Saturday morning lows. Sunday morning lows. Monday morning lows. Tuesday morning lows. That's the freezing line. Tuesday morning all the way down to Interstate 20, excuse me. Let's take a look at some city forecasts to give you an idea about how cold this is going to be. Let's take you to Chicago first here. Look at the high temperatures in Chicago as we go in the next week. Look at this area. Look at 30s Monday, Tuesday. How about Atlanta? Lower 50s. That's December. How about New York City early next week? December standings with temperatures in the 40s. Brr! Is it going to get cold early next week? And that's the story on the feed.